I went to Butler University, and at the time, I had a chance to work for a television show called Late Night with David Letterman. And my job on the show was to research the guests that were on the show, so that when David had a celebrity booked on the show, they had something to talk about that was halfway entertaining. So I would help them find the funny, which was great because I would help people take normal things that happen in their lives and find the humor in those situations. And then I started doing it all over the place. But while I was there at the Letterman show, I received an award for some of the work that I'd done in high school, where I was recognized as one of the top 10 student citizens like in the country, which was a huge mistake because I really didn't feel like I deserved it. I mean, the 9 other kids that were there did real things. Like the guy next to me saved his best friend's life in an avalanche using a Q-tip and a thimble, and I did nothing, right? But whatever, I was getting this award, so that was kind of cool. And so before I left for Washington for this ceremony, David Letterman gave me his Polaroid camera. And he goes, I want you to go to the White House, and I want you to take pictures of the White House that have never been photographed before. Go and find the funny in the White House. And I was like, whoa. And then you can come back and show those photos on the show. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm gonna be booked as a guest on the Letterman show. And so I go out there, and I'm ready to take photos of the White House of stuff that have never been photographed before. Okay, every kid that was there that weekend had a different celebrity assigned to them. This is my celebrity that was assigned to me. She was Miss America. She's on the left. And she was really cool. She was 19, I was 19, so we were meant to be. And also, one other thing about her that I thought was kind of cool is that she had a really famous uncle. This is her uncle. His name is Johnny Cash, right? And yeah, that's not her. And so there was a lot of musical history in her family, of course. But the thing I loved about her most, it was when I told her that I was there to photograph things that were ridiculous, she said, well, you should just take pictures of me too, because there are so many things that I shouldn't have my picture taken of, that you could photograph those things and then go talk about that on the show. I'm like, awesome. So I take pictures of her eating a piece of pizza, that's her eating a taco, that's her making an ice cream sundae, and I start taking all these ridiculous photos of Miss America. Nighttime comes along. There's now a banquet where the President of the United States is about to speak. And the Secret Service guy gets up on stage ahead of time, and he goes, all right, when the President's on stage, don't move around, don't get up. If you have to go to the bathroom now, go to the bathroom, but do not get up while the president is speaking. Okay, good, I got it. And so as we're sitting there waiting for the president to come in, I turn to her and I say, what is the most ridiculous photo I could take of you? Like, what's the crown jewel? And she goes, well, I haven't done this since high school. And I'm like, what? And she goes, I can stick my entire fist into my mouth. And I'm like, what? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, can you do that now? And she goes, yeah. And so Miss America opens up her mouth and puts her fist in her mouth. And I take the photo, and I'm like, no way. I cannot believe I have a photograph of the reigning Miss America with her fist in her mouth. Now, forget the president. I can't wait to get back to New York and show this on national TV. And so as I turn to listen to the president be introduced, I notice out of my vision here, she still has her fist in her mouth, right? And this is like 2 minutes later. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know why she's doing that. Maybe it's comfortable. I don't know what to say. And I look and her eyes are getting really big. Okay, here's a couple things I learned later on that day. Number one, I found out that for cosmetic reasons, some people get braces on the inside of their teeth. Okay, I'd never heard of such a thing. I had no idea she had braces on the inside of her teeth. Number two, when she became Miss America, Johnny Cash, her great uncle, gave her a really nice diamond ring that she happened to have on, that was now lodged in the braces on the inside of her teeth. You got it? She cannot get her fist out of her mouth, and I don't know what to do. What do I do? I look at her, I'm like, are you okay? She shakes her head, no. And then I ask the stupidest question in the world. I'm like, are you dying? And she shakes her head, yes. Now, if you say to someone, are you dying? And they say yes, that's awkward, because now I don't know what to do. Do I save her life? Do I take more pictures? And so obviously I take more pictures. And so now I don't know what to do. And remember, I can't get up because they told you, you're gonna get shot in the head if you get up. And so now I don't know what to do. And so I remember sitting there thinking, I have to go get help, but I can't walk around because I don't want to be killed. And so now I think, okay, I'm gonna stay the level that I am right now. So I stayed sitting in the sitting position, but I just started walking around like this, right? Well, it turns out this is a bigger red flag because now they're really freaking out. And the Secret Service guy comes over, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, then I make United States history because I'm pretty confident I'm the only one in the history of the country that's ever said the words, excuse me, sir, Miss America is choking to death on her fist. so now I go back to the table, I'm like, help's on the way. And all of a sudden now 2 guys come over, 3 guys come over, and they take her away. They don't even help her there. They take her to some fist dislodging wing or whatever. And eventually she comes back. And when she came back, I didn't want to look at her because I thought I was gonna be in so much trouble. And she looks at me, I make quick eye contact with her, and she immediately busts out laughing. And I was like, oh, that is awesome. To me, that is the true essence of leadership, being able to laugh at things when they really don't go your way, because she was able to find the joy in that photo. And so that's the greatest thing of all, is to be able to laugh at yourself. It's easy to laugh at the demise of others. It's easy to laugh when things don't go right for someone else. But as a leader, anytime you can find the joy and the funny in your own life, that is really where the miracle of leadership is celebrated. I spoke here a couple nights ago to the FFA conference, which was fantastic, and very similar to this group. And so when I was at the Hyatt place, that's where they put me up, and I got in the elevator to come here to speak. As I got in the elevator, there was a girl from FFA on the elevator by herself. And of course, she doesn't know who I am. I hadn't spoken yet. And I walk in the elevator, and as soon as I walk on, she opens the doors, and she goes, oh, I have to get off. I was like, oh, well, this is your floor? And she goes, no, there's a rule. I'm not allowed to be on an elevator with someone else. Okay. I'm like, all right. So I don't think you're gonna hurt me. Like, I don't know what to say, right? And so she left, and so I thought that was really unique. And then that reminded me of the elevator story that happened a couple months ago. I spoke at a conference in Anaheim, California. I spoke there at the conferences being held at the Marriott, and they have a hotel elevator operating system that I'd never seen before, where, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, where the elevators inside have no buttons. There are no buttons for any floors in the elevator. Instead, when you go to the lobby of the elevator, you push the floor that you want to go to, and it gives you a little computer readout of the elevator bank that you're supposed to go to. So in essence, every elevator is an express elevator. It makes sense. You never have to wait for anyone else. You type in 415, boom, go to elevator C, it takes you straight to 15. So this is kind of ingenious. I'd never seen that before. It might stop at one other floor, but that's it. No more than 2 floors. And so I'm standing behind the guy, some guy, he types in, sure enough, floor 15. And so it says, go to elevator C. Then I type in floor 25, and it also says, go to elevator C. So I think, okay, we're both going on the same elevator. We're stopping at 15, we're stopping at floor 25. I go into the elevator, the door starts to shut. As it shuts, the guy in the elevator says, oh, I forgot something at the front desk, and he runs off the elevator. So I know the elevator's still going to 15 and 25 because I'm still on the same elevator. As the door begins to close again, a kid from the conference starts running towards the elevator. You can tell he's trying to catch it. He does not know, I guarantee you, about this newfangled elevator system. And so he catches the door, he walks into the elevator. It's just he and I, and he's totally out of breath. And then he goes to push the button to go to the floor, and there are no buttons, right? And so he looks at me, he's like, what's going on? Where are the buttons? And I'm like, well, this is a new type of elevator. This is called an intellivator. All you have to do is think of the floor that you want to go to, and it will take you to that floor. He's like, shut up. And I'm like, seriously? Like, okay, let's go to floor 15, right? Because I know we're going to 15. So I sit there. Can you imagine? I'm a total stranger. I'm some old guy. I'm like, oh, 15, right? And I really start getting into it because I have nothing to lose, right? I mean, that whole restraining order has been taken away years ago. And so here I am, 15. And so now, all of a sudden, sure enough, the door opens at floor 15. I look at the kid. He's like, all right? He cannot believe what just happened. And the doors start to shut. He's like, I can't believe this. And I'm like, all right, now we'll go to floor 25. 25, right? And I'm doing this. The door opens. I am laughing so hard. He's like, this, and he's not saying, so as I walk off the elevator, I turn to explain to him how to actually do it. I promise you, my hand, as I turn around, I look, the kid's going, lobby, right? It was fantastic, right? And so that's the whole thing, is you've got to be able to find the joy in everyday situations in life, but especially when stuff happens to you that you wish didn't happen. Because if you can laugh at yourself when things don't go right, you will succeed as a leader in so many ways that you can't even imagine. That's the number one thing employers look for nowadays, is not just your leadership skills and your ability to do the work, but it's how well do you get along with each other, and how well can you laugh at yourself when things don't go well. Let's say today is Saturday, last Friday, I visited Southwest Airlines corporate headquarters, where they took me through the whole thing, gave me a whole whole tour. And there's an area that when they bring in new flight attendants, they have an area where they bring them in for their interview, and they sit there and they wait, and they intentionally make them wait for 1 hour and 15 minutes, intentionally, just to see how they handle situations that don't go their way. Do they get really upset? Do they get ticked off? Do they leave? Do they complain? Do they say, I should be? They want to see how you're going to handle a pressure situation. Because in the flight industry, you're going to be delayed all the time. So they're giving you a test the second you walk in. I thought that was kind of extraordinary.